Okay, we're going live. 1 second. And we're live. So we're just going to get a bunch of things set up.
All right, now I got to find you and share. I'm just going to try to go as fast as I can.
So I like to, I'm going to share it to my Facebook group, and then I like to keep my phone to see the comments.
All right, I'm going to
if we even think about it.
I got to find my group. I'll write a message.
What's your group called? Tell everybody what it's called.
My group is called the Intuitive Boss Babe Community Shared. We're live.
Fantastic. Goldmine Classroom shared.
Oh, I think I can share it to my page. And we're doing all of the share places. Let's see. Usually I'm really tech challenged. Yeah, it's on my page too. Yes.
Okay, cool.
This.
So I'm just lastly going to go back into the Goldmine Classroom, and then I'm going to go in the comments. All right. Well, we have Sarah Beck watching.
Oh, I love her. Sarah Beck, I love you. In case you were wondering, let me just turn the volume down so I don't have to hear myself. I did the things.
It was flawless.
It's exciting when tech works.
I know.
Because I'm so not techie. I'm getting better though.
You know what? That we should start there because there are so many like hires, yeah, but like people like us, service-based entrepreneurs, mentors, coaches that don't do it because they think they're not techie. And it's like, bitch, nobody's techie. We're just like flopping around as we go.
No, I know people like I say every time I'm live, like I've got to figure out how to share this in my group. And I always figure it out. But like my podcast guy like set this up, plugged it in. He made a video for me that says like, this is how you turn it on. This is how it sets up to Zoom. And I'm like, all right, I'll figure it out.
That's hilarious.
I'll tag him like, JJ, be proud of me. Okay.
I have to mention, I haven't seen that chair and it's badass.
Oh my God. Like, I don't know how people sit in desks because like, I have no patience for desks.
I'm into my comfy chair too.
I love that.
All right. So for everybody who does not know Andrea, I'm going to keep this short and sweet because this is a live recording of a Goldmine podcast. It's going to be on the podcast if you miss it, or if you come in late, or if you leave early, and there's going to be more information on there. But Andrea, she is a woman who wears many hats. Let me talk into my mic. You still do the Hangry Italian Girl? Right?
No, I do not.
You do not. Okay. So she did food blog for a very long time, the Hangry Italian Girl. And I know that was pretty big. You won awards for it. You were featured in magazines and stuff.
So funny. I just found this today. So it's on the desk. Like, winner CT Best of New Haven Readers Poll, like Hangry Italian Girl. Yeah, I did win all kinds of awards. Like I literally got paid to eat food. Like sometimes I like to just do shit that people tell me I can't do. Like you can't make eating food into a living. Want to make that? Watch me. But no, I love that. But the truth, the total truth of why I don't do it anymore is one, my time is kind of limited. And two, honestly, when I'm at a restaurant now, like people don't realize that like it is still a job. So when the drinks drop or the food drops and the owner wants to come out and talk and you're working, right? It's so much fun. It's like the best job ever, just like mentorship. But I just like I'd rather pay for the meal and not get paid and be left alone and be able to like gobble my food and not have to talk to anyone and like be incognito than have to work while I'm eating. Cause that's like pure enjoyment for me, which is why I made it my business. Cause it was something I loved, Eating is a love of mine.
Oh my gosh. I started food blogging. It definitely wasn't anything to your scale, but I loved it. And I loved creating the healthiest food. I was navigating a disease and stuff. And that's what got me in the online space as like a feel good content.
I had
is just like so,
too.
And that'll do it. And food is just food is just so amazing. Food is amazing. Anyways, you had Andrea had the Hangry Italian Girl food blog. And now, so you still do currently own a media company. And You don't?
Do you think that I have time to run other people's social media,
What
Shauna?
the fuck? No,
I
when we
dropped all
talked-
of this a year ago. So it was like the most divine timing. So right before COVID hit, I knew I had to make a choice. I was actually like teamed up with a YouTuber, and like it was a lot. Like I was running the Hangry Italian Girl, running a media company, and just starting to get my hand in mentorship, and my heart, my soul, my fire, my drive was helping women, you know, whether it was business stuff or trauma stuff or like, so I just remember sitting there one day and canceling on going to a restaurant and I was like, I'm either going to go balls to the wall or have, like, I tell this to my clients, like, where you water will grow. And like, I was kind of taking this one cup and like a little here, and like all of them were like doing well. And so this day I was like, I'm done. I'm done with the media. Like, no, I couldn't work for anyone anymore. So I'm done with the media company. I'm done with Hangry. Like, dropped everything. And it was right before Corona. And I remember that week I had like a 10 or 20K week. And I was like, holy fuck, like what I could do when I focus all of my energy into this. And I never looked back. So this was probably like a year ago now, around like March, April time last year is when I really started to move into the coaching full time.
You know why I must be confused is because you talk about owning it. I'm like, holy, and even in my mind, I was like, how the fuck did she do 3 of those things? So,
well, that's where I started. Cause I think that like, you know, running a media company and running the Hangry Italian Girl and learning the back end in front of a company and doing a lot of different things business wise then catapulted me into like, oh, I can grow social media. Like that's how I started coaching. I'm really big on embodiment. So the first thing, my first program for $150 was literally like how to grow your social media one-on-one. Cause I didn't know anything else. So that's what I taught, you know?
You're good too. I remember you knew what you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, no, I do. I'm a boss ass bitch at social media. Okay.
So now, for God's sakes, you are about to be a self-made millionaire, and that is, so you're going to give, I know that your history will give you lots of credit, and for the Hangry Italian Girl you learn stuff, and for the media company you learn stuff, but that's directly from putting your heart into intuitive business coaching.
What do you mean?
Like you just said you released all those things.
Yep.
You had like a 20K week.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of catapulted from there. And so just like, congratulations.
Yeah,
it's been
thank you.
fantastic to see.
It was crazy. All of it. Yeah. I mean, my days consisted of like getting up, doing media stuff, then like a little, like I wasn't really coaching full time yet. And then a little bit of that. And then like going to a restaurant, and I was like doing 3 things in a day. And I was like full and tired. You know, so like I had to make a choice. And sometimes when we're, you know, in evolution of our business, we have to make a choice, you know. And by the way, anyone who's tuning in who has any questions, like feel free to drop them.
Please do. We have this video on 3 platforms at the moment. Well, 3 spaces at the moment. So we're going to check them all. And I will occasionally check this live too, because the Zoom live likes to lag. And so sometimes it's hard to see. Let me pull that back up.
I have it up, like just the actual video. I think it's your live that I can see.
Okay, cool. Let me go here. Okay. So first I want to ask you before I go into, I was thinking about this conversation today because actually Andrea, I just had a session with her and we talked, and it got me thinking about things. And then I knew that we just planned this podcast like a few days ago, and that got me thinking about things. So I think we can have some really valuable conversation for anybody who's looking for like success, not just in business or with money, but just in life. And I think that would be really powerful for them. But I want to know, because I don't know, like what's exciting for you right now?
Ooh, what's exciting for me? Okay, the most thing that I'm excited about. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I am launching a 1-year fucking membership that like I haven't told. I mean, like I made a post, but I've been like teasing. So I just can't wait. Like one of the big things that I've been wanting to do is being able to be in my client's energy for like longer term. I have a lot of clients that like consistently invest in me, but I'm creating this like membership where it's on the new moon and the full moon and hot seat coaching. It's called the Limitless Year. We're coming out with it. So I'm just so fucking excited for that. I already have people signing up, even though I haven't told anyone yet. They're like, please tell me. So that's one of the most exciting things I'm feeling into right now. There's going to be like spells and rituals and business coaching and life stuff and relationship stuff. It's just going to be like a container to like quantum leap all of the fucking things, which is what I think I excel in, is where I don't have like, there's just like so much to this, right? I think that so many business owners get caught up just in the business side. And there's just like so much. There's the inner child healing, there's the confidence, there's the boundaries, there's all of the things. So I like to help in all of the places, but other things that are exciting, going to a retreat in Tulum in November, which is going to, do you remember telling me telling you about the Australia healing retreat I did that like changed my life? Doing another one of those in November to like,
no big deal.
Yeah. Like I like to, the question I ask people is, how many times are you willing to die? So I'm going to die again. Like I die all the time. My ego gets killed, but like I am going to die again in November and I'm really excited to die again. So those are two things that are coming up for me, being excited, other than just like continuing to evolve, continuing to master my emotional intelligence. One of the things that I used to really struggle with was like reactivity, and patience is something I'm really mastering right now as well. And just life I'm excited about. But how about you? What are you excited about?
Oh my gosh. So last 2020, I'm just going to call it 2020, everything that embarked in 2020, I didn't think it was affecting me. Through August, I just had fantastic success in business and life, and everything was going really well. And then I noticed just this past January that I'm like, I think COVID affected me more than I thought it did, because I was just in the house. I love my partner, Adam, but like, get the fuck away from me. I don't want to see you every day. And
I know
that in business, I had some challenges in business. And so I realized that I had been in a state of stress a lot longer than I have been for years. Like this, just a general daily stress state. And once I had that realization with the help of magic mushrooms,
oh my God, I went on a trip too. Whew.
I felt all of the anxiety in my body, and it just really made that apparent. And then from that point, on that journey that day, I've just been sort of creating momentum in the direction that I want to go. And like all of the synchronicities are just all happening in such a beautiful way. And now that springtime broke here in Cleveland, the weather's nicer.
I'm just ready. Can we be so naked all the time?
And so momentum is being created, and I'm going through a rebirth, as we talked about on the session that I had with you the other day. And it just feels, I actually want to talk about that later, about like the reinvention and the reawakening of who we are, and how that just keeps coming around in this ever winding road of wholeness and healing.
Oh yeah, I was just doing an interview with Kelly Mahala, because we were talking about human design, because we're coming out with a projector program called Invited, and we were talking about like how we have to have friends who are like totally willing to, one, be ever evolving, but two, like, I'm not the woman I was yesterday, never mind like last year, like I have died and rebirthed myself so many times. And a part of entrepreneurship is like really willing to get in the fucking fire and burn it all to the ground to start things anew over and over again. And as I lean deeper into my design and my purpose and my passion and all of the things, I'm just consistently, ever evolving.
I think that's the best perspective that we can have, because it allows us to not only celebrate every little bitty win and every really large win, but it allows us to not like beat up on ourselves when shit gets off the path. And for anybody listening, Andrea and I are both emotional projectors.
I know, right? Emotional.
So emo. So that actually, that leads me into a question, because I
projector vibes.
In my first, I thought you said protect your vibes, and I was like, wait, do you see something?
No, and don't worry, I have all of the things. Like if anything comes, we're good. I just sprayed my computer. Okay.
So in this process of my momentum, the projector vibes, by the way, I just launched a program, and I had been used to doing like 2-week launches, and they would leave me burnt out. And so I decided I wanted to launch a program for 30 days. And I did. I finished the 30-day launch without a bit of burnout. And it was like it was the best unlearning that I could have ever gone through. And that was all because I was in this human design mastermind, and I started to learn how to utilize my design to the best,
Yep.
to my energetic correctness.
Yeah.
And
Energetic mastery. That's where it's at, baby.
yes. So in that reinventing, a lot of people call it reinventing, and I sort of see it as a reawakening and a reemergence, because every time I come back around to this space that I'm in right now, because it is ever evolving, I'm always just at it at a different level. Every time I come back around, I'm reminded of who I am, not what I'm not. So for me, it really helps to think that I'm just becoming more of who I've always been, rather than something new. And I wonder if that's the same for you.
Yeah, I feel like our journey is all about unlearning, right? Like unlearning what our parents taught us, unlearning what society taught us, unlearning everything that isn't us. So the true essence of ever evolving woman is allowing yourself to shed all the things that you are not, to become what you already are and already were. So it's really like, it's not that I'm ever becoming something new. It's that I'm killing myself over and over again to get to the wholeness of what's already in me and who I was always destined to be. I think that's it for me, where it's like the killing of the ego and the emergence of your soul. You were already always this being, right? But like you were doctrined and taught and had all these things come at you, whether it's childhood trauma or, just like different notions from different people that aren't you and were never you, but you thought they were. So you adopted them and tried to be something that you were not. Like I worked at Stop and Shop because my father was a person who said, like, he works at Costco and he said, you can get to the top of Stop and Shop. I went to EMT school. I passed with a 98 because my mother is a nurse and I wanted to make her happy. Like I did all the things. I did 6 years in college. I dropped out with 4 classes left. Obviously I had an accident, but like I couldn't imagine going to school for one more second. I'd rather gouge my eyes out. So I was like, I'm not fucking getting a degree. I don't care. But everything I did for the most of my life up until 3-4 years ago, right, was like everything everyone else wanted me to be. And I made a post about this and stories about this on my personal Instagram last night. Cause like, even with now I'm starting to make more boss ass motherfucking moves. And I'm like following investors who are saying like, invest in this. So like the other night I saw this investor go like, invest in this. So I put fucking 2K in it. And the next morning I woke up like $800 richer. And I was like, yeah. And then like my family thinks I'm fucking out of my mind. Like you're just blowing. I'm like, I'm not blowing thousands of dollars. I am investing thousands of dollars. There is a difference. I remember when the stock market took a fucking plummet a couple months ago, when they were all calling me, I wanted to cry and I was like half shitting myself. And like today, let me tell you, it's a good day. Like, it's like riding the waves and not giving a shit about anybody else and coming home to you.
Yeah. I'm in currently in a mastermind that teaches trading, and it's wealth, because it's not about business. The way that we're learning wealth creation is just connecting so many more dots for me. And yeah, I'm into it. I'm into the
I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie too. So I'm like, let's throw 10K at this and see what it is tomorrow. I'm fucked up.
No.
But I have all my like safe stuff too. Like, the 401k and like
foundations,
the stock stuff. Like I've got like well over 6 figures in that account to like, but like I want to like throw a couple G's here and there and like the fun shit. Like let's have fun. But like I've gotten to a level where now like this is something I can do. And I'm so fucking honored and blessed that now I have money that I can invest to see grow quicker. And I don't know, I feel like, who am I? Like, I don't even know. I feel like the woman I was a year ago was like, never wouldn't imagine. I know. I just remember someone asking me to invest $30,000 and he was like, I can guarantee that like, I'll help you double, triple, quadruple. This is like in the beginning of 2020. I wish I had taken him up on this.
You didn't.
I didn't. And I had like 80K in my bank. I don't know, something like way more than 30K at that point. And I was afraid. I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I just want my money to sit here. And now the woman I am is like, I never want my money to sit there. It should always be working for you.
I watched, so for anybody listening, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure the first time we met, it was the first time I spoke on stage at an event, and you got on the same stage to just
Mm.
share, and you ended up just like having a rebirth on the stage.
I did have a rebirth on the stage. That when I got my human design reading, she was like, what was the day that your business was born? And I gave that date.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, and I hadn't met you. The first time I saw you was on that stage. We hadn't met. And then like, I didn't know, we both had an opportunity to be seen, and we didn't know each other yet. And then eventually we end up becoming connected. But that leads me into the next thing, because so let me preface with, if you guys don't know Andrea, for me and the way that I view the world and my worldviews and my values, like she's just the definition of a leader, for the reasons like that she knows her people are her people. Therefore, she is unapologetic in how she expresses. She's unapologetic in it in a way that's heart-centered, and takes the whole collective into her heart. And what else did I write down here? Oh yeah, she goes first. So she does these beautiful things to where she shares, and she goes first, and she tries things, and she stretches, and she showcases that in such a beautiful way. You really do it in such a beautiful way. And for me, I know I've gone through so many phases of my leadership at this point. It started back in 2011. And I see you, and I see how you share your story and your history. And when you talk about things like alcohol, or these
Oh
things that
yeah.
you struggle with, it's
I'm
it's
sober
the
now,
same thing
but
in a different jacket. Yeah, it was the same thing for food, and like my journey with sugar and my old addictive habits. And I think it's just, you lead in such a beautiful way. And because of that, so I wanted to give that to you. I wanted to say that to
thank
you.
you. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But yeah, no, like I was saying this is my slogan. Like I fuck it up forward. I'm like a
Yeah.
1-3 in human design. So like sometimes I need to learn the hard way. Like I have to like experience something and realize it's truly not for me to go to like this next level. And like I'm not saying that I had to experience drinking and cocaine or anything, but it was a part of my life for a little while where I was like drinking wine every single night, doing blow on the weekends, doing things that like I'm not proud of, but like it was an experience in my life in which I definitely no longer resonate with, and I don't drink anymore. I did drink in February and like November, December a little bit, but I feel like every time I welcome alcohol back into my life, I'm like, no, like this is just not who you are anymore, and it's not the CEO $1 million version of myself that is madly in love with my body, but I think that every part of myself, I love her. I love the woman who was doing coke. I love the woman who broke people's heart. I love the woman who got her heart broken. I love every part of me because she was meant to teach me something to become who I am today, and who the woman I am today is meant to teach me something so I become a better woman tomorrow.
Yes.
I want that little bit of the recording though. So
Hell
channel.
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
I'll put that in the as my little example.
I always say like good quotes. I'm like, can we like just take that?
I don't know if I feel like it's definitely a leader thing, but a projector thing. And maybe I have a defined throat. But when I go back and listen to my things, I'm like, I'm a fucking genius. I'm a genius.
Fucking genius. Oh my God, I love that so much.
Yeah. So I think it's because of that, the way that you lead, which again, in my experience, you lead in a really beautiful way. And I think it's because of that unapologetic ownership and leadership for who you are and what you stand for, and the vision that you hold. I think that you're a really easy target for comparison. And I want to bring this up so much
Oh boy.
because I see, I've seen it in my life, me comparing. I know you've experienced it yourself. I'm assuming
Oh
you've
yeah,
experienced it yourself.
absolutely.
And I want to speak to like all of the people listening to here that have a vision, conscious business, if you're anybody like us, this is such a beautiful moment, because when I met Andrea, I saw her on that stage, and then like 2 months later, she came into a program where I was coaching in the program. I was one of the coaches.
And I was a
Well,
hot mess.
well, you transformed so much. I
And then
mean,
I just exploded. I was like, I'm sober. I'm doing this. I'm becoming a mentor. Bam. That was it.
yes. And you know what? You passed everybody up. You passed me up. You passed everybody up. And I think that because you did it so quickly, and I think that I wrote down, because you did it so quickly, um, and you're so open about who you are and what you've experienced and what you learned, and you're unapologetic, I think that makes you a very easy target for comparison. But if we think about the women that we're comparing ourselves to, like what permission you are for people to think like, oh my God, I'm not as successful as this person B over here. And it's like, well, look at somebody like Andrea, who passed fucking everybody up so quick. Like that can happen so easily.
Mm.
And I want to ask you, where or how has comparison taken you down, and what's your relationship to it today? Because I know that it's so pertinent.
Yeah, I think for me, like, especially when I was starting, there was a lot of confusion because, like, what we do is we compare ourselves to someone making $1 million when we're step one and they're step 500, right? So, like, I've definitely experienced it. Some of the other things that, like, I'll give it a great example recently. Like, I see a lot of successful mentors do 3 and 5 day challenges. I'm a fucking projector. So I gave it my all at this 3 day fucking challenge and I sucked ball sack. Like seriously, like day 3, I was so dead. I was like, I can't do this. My magic is coming to fuck shit up on one call, one thing, one time for like an hour and a half and giving
Live.
you my magic and fucking your shit up and being done. I just dropped something. And like I wanted, it wasn't that I was like necessarily comparing, but I was like, this seems like a good strategy, blah, blah, blah. So like sometimes you give your go at something that you see others doing successful. And, the beautiful part is when you can say, this is not for me and I'm not going to try it, right? Like maybe I'll come back in 9 months and it will be something that lights me up, but it's not right now. So I'm not doing it again. And I deleted all the videos out of there and like, bam, it's not a thing. Right. And I think that,
And you're not giving yourself shit for it. Let's make that clear.
I gave it my best. And then again, some girls were giving me the best feedback in the world and I thought it sucked. So like, it's all also like a bird's eye view of what you feel too. Right. Is like, I'm a Virgo and a projector and I am self-critical, but that is also how I quantum leap so quickly is I am 1, radically honest, and 2, I allow myself to critique myself without being too hard on myself. Right. So like when I remember a conversation with my mother and we were talking about an old partnership and I was like reevaluating some of the ways that I could have done better. And she started talking. I was like, look, I've gone through this 5,000 times in my head. I don't need you to tell me the ways I went wrong because I know. Right. But it's just funny. So I think that in this industry, we do a lot of comparisonitis. I don't really think I do it that much anymore. Like it's more inspiration for me now. I think I was always a woman who was like, if someone's where I want to be, the only thing I'm going to do is take money out of my pocket and pay you because I'd like to learn from you and vibrate at your energetic frequency. But I definitely, of course, we've all had those moments where we're like, wow, if she can do that. But half the time that this person who might be at a level of income or whatever, they're not always doing things that I want to be doing because as a projector, I don't want to be going live 4 times a day and don't want to be doing X, like, see that like might be the reason for her success and whatever. Like, I don't want to be doing these challenges or blah, blah, blah. So like, it's all about like allowing yourself to see what works for you and saying fuck you to anything that doesn't and stop comparing because in this industry, there's a million ways to be a millionaire and a million ways to become impactful, but you've got to honor you and what fucking feels good.
Yes. It's like now if that comparison monkey shows up, it's instantly like turning comparison it just into permission. And it's such a beautiful and it gets quieter and quieter and quieter. And
Yeah.
so I think people can just learn how to move through it in a way that we can alchemize it to support. They can alchemize it to support them.
I hire women that trigger me.
Yeah.
That's my thing. You trigger me, I'm going to hire you. Because you have medicine for me.
Yeah. I was thinking about, so you just said something about making millions and thinking that our ideas aren't working. You're like, oh, this 3-day challenge isn't really working for me, but people are still telling you that they're loving it, right? And I like to remember, if we think our ideas are stupid, or like, first of all, we're questioning our heart-centered ideas to support the collective like evolution of the planet first and foremost, which is crazy. But if we do think of it, and at the times I think, is this idea stupid, I get to remember that the pet rock made millions.
Yeah.
Someone
invented a pool noodle and became a millionaire.
Right.
I saw that quote online. I was like, here's the other thing is, even though that 3-day challenge did not create any income for me, it still felt really good that a lot of people that aren't yet at a moment in time where they can invest in me got to have some really great info. I showed up, I did all 3 days. I still provided amazing, like insights and tools and tips and tricks. So who came, I'm sure they got a lot of impact, a lot of insight, and a lot of knowledge. They took notes. They loved it. It didn't light me the fuck up, so I'm not going to do it again. But it was a lesson and an experience that was beautiful. If you can stop saying that the thing that didn't work was anything but a lesson and a beautiful experience, that's where you can keep fucking going harder and better and bigger and wiser, is because you're not letting that thing hold you back. So like, I fuck up forward.
Yeah, I'd like to say fail forward. My partner is a 1-3, and so
I like to swear. So
yes.
I'm sure my mom or grandma will watch this and they're like, Andrea. But
my family does. I showed my dad this beautiful
Graham does not swear
spoken word poetry piece I did, and he like interrupted the middle of it because I said one swear word, and he's like, I just lost all respect for this video. And I was like, Dad, watch the fucking video. Like, I put my heart into it.
I just think fuck is a sentence enhancer. It's like, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful fucking day. How you doing? Like, I just think I get like, there's definitely a time and place for everything, but like Gary V, who I've like signed my books,
Who's
like I've met him multiple times. I am obsessed with him. He is the only person where he could be in a room and I'll be like, like I talk to him multiple times and I always like lose my words. And it's not easy for me to lose words. And he's also a projector. So I love him, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I think he answered the question. We're like, yeah, I swear in front of my kids, like, there's nothing wrong with it. But like, I do think there's a time and place. Like if I know children are around or I'm about to meet a dude's parents, or, like you're with a bunch of maybe older elders that I want to respect a bit more, but it depends the situation. But however, it is very natural to me to swear. And if you are coming into my programs, my life, my friends, whatever, like you should know that I swear. And if you don't like that, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. It's okay. You can just go elsewhere if, fuck is never in your vocabulary. I'm okay with that.
That's that unapologetic leadership. Like that's a perfect example of it. And plus this podcast specifically, it's marked explicit. And so I totally agree with you on all fronts.
Yeah. If I remember my friend the other day, we were recording an episode and I just couldn't stop dropping the F. I'm like trying to hinder it back sometimes. And she was like, I'm never the conservative friend, and around you, I was like, well, I'll just take that as a compliment. I am who I am. I don't ever want to change myself for any friend, man, program this. Like if you need the medicine or desire the medicine that comes through my energetic being and soul, then this is me. And I will, like, how you see me online in programs, in person, like it's all the same. People meet me and like, wow, you're just like, I'm like, yeah, was I supposed to be someone else? Like,
Huh? You mentioned something and it made me want to ask. So I mentioned earlier in the podcast, you're about to be a self-made millionaire. And
it's so weird for me to still say. I'm like, what?
It's strange thinking about it's such a small amount of time. So it's
I know.
just like so cool.
Under 2 years.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. Just like how quickly things can happen. And I wanted to mention too, for everybody listening, if you were watching her from the outside, it seems like this was just a very quick quantum leap. And I do believe that it was. And
in ways,
Andrea has years. She put years of stacking all of this together
All
in
of the
order to
shit.
get this quantum leap. And I think that's really important to see with anybody that we deem as successful or overnight or very quickly, like things stack with time. And I think that that's something that just doesn't get brought up enough, or maybe it's just something that people aren't noticing because they drop into that comparison so quickly. Like we dedicate ourselves to this work and we dedicate ourselves to it because we know, like, I'm not stopping. This isn't stopping for me. This is happening for me.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
doing
I
it.
think what you're saying right now is the thing. Here's why people very often don't rise to success at the quantum level is they give up too quickly. Day
Mhm.
2 of their launch, they're failing, right? Like they're labeling themselves as failure. It's like there were many days, weeks. I had a whole launch in November of 2019. I had a 30K month. It was my first 30K month. And then my next launch was a complete fucking flop. Do you want to know what I did? Pivoted and sold 101, sold those out. Nothing will fucking stop me. I, at every failure or lesson, kept fucking going, kept going live, kept showing up, kept doing the things to let people know who I was and how they could buy me and who I was and how I could impact them. Right. And so I think that's really why I quantum leap faster than most people is like nothing stopped me. Like I was on the road and maybe something drove by and I fell and I got back up, you know, and I
Dedicated.
think that's the level where people get so easily like sidetracked or, you know, like I've gone through so much in the past 2 years, breakups, sadness, healings, ego deaths, family issues, loss of friendships. None of it stopped me. I might have a moment where I cry. I might be on that bathroom motherfucking floor. I might have some really hard days, but nothing stops me. And that's it. That's why I will always be successful. I will always be impactful, and I will always be wealthy from here on out, every day of my life, because nothing will stop me.
It's also a good clip.
Another clip we got.
So which direction do I want to go first here? Because it was two things. So let's talk about this. So the self-made millionaire thing, and it's obvious at this point you support people to do that, right? That's how you've created this wealth. And I know that when it comes to the topic of money, people, I want you to talk about how much more reach to support people for no investment that you have now that you've created this wealth. Because I think people think once, oh, if I'm a millionaire, well, I'm going to be selfish or I'm going to do this thing. And I want you to talk about it specifically related to like businesses like ours, because they would think
Nothing
like, oh,
changed.
well, I'm going to be so busy, I'm not going to have time. But in my perspective, the more money I make, the more value I can give out to the
Yeah,
world.
I have more time now than ever
Yeah.
because I can hire more. Nothing changed as my income grew. I still go live. I still do free workshops. I did one 2 weeks ago, right? Like I still do free workshops. I still do free live videos, free card pulls every week. Like it to me, I always want to be, there's two parts of business in order to be impactful and successful is nurturing the people that are already in your atmosphere and energetic frequency and continuously bringing new people in order to do these two things, you must keep having free things. And when people come into my world and they see me free speak or whatever it is, right? They're like, what the happens when I fucking pay her? Right. So like nothing changed for me. The only thing that changed as more wealth comes into my life is one, my investments are wiser. Two, I have a much better relationship with money. Like in 2019, I did 120,000 and I saved none of it. You know what I mean? So like a lot of things have shifted there, but now I just hire more, have more investments, like, so I can have even more freedom. So the more money I make, the more people I can hire. You know, like now I have an assistant who does hair and makeup. I have a full-time high-level OBM. I have an accountant. I have a lawyer. I have house cleaners who I fucking love, right? Like I have this supportive team. I have a graphic designer who I fucking love. And I would not be where I am without my team. So like every bit of the way, I am thanking them. I am grateful for them. And as my income grows, my team grows. And so I actually was reached out to by Business Insider with my PR agent that I hired. And I love her. Her name is Lydia. She's amazing. Shout out Lydia. And it was this question of like, once you're getting more successful, like what does your business look like differently? Like I'm not hiring a bunch of coaches anymore because I feel like I would rather hire, like I had this coach come in my inbox who's like a multimillionaire. I'm like, why don't you join my high level mastermind? And I'm like, like, why don't I hire another team member or take that 30K and go put it in like, I don't know, Bitcoin, whatever, right? So I just feel like there's a level of, if you need to learn more, but like once you get to a certain frequency and caliber, this is where you should be investing, hiring team, and an expansion, which is where the level that I've now reached.
I love that because like we talked about before.
Oh my God, Lydia's watching.
I was going to say there's a Lydia.
She said thanks for watching. This is my PR lady.
Oh, hi, Lydia.
It's so you never know who's watching when you're talking about them.
Yeah.
Love you. So I always try to talk about like all of the people who are a part of my success. I just feel like I know that there's that big thing in the media with like Rachel Hollis. I don't even know. I don't really know who she is very well, but she was like,
heard about it.
I have someone cleaning my toilets. How fucking dare you? One, and I don't want to go into that, by the way, but like, I can never imagine talking to like my team, like about them like that. Like my OBM Hannah, I'm like, I love you. Thank you. Like my gratitude is just, I try to help them get more clients. And like, I am like the referral fucking queen. Like I have like a part of my income is affiliates, and like, I'm just like the master of connection. And this has also comes with a level of people trust me. Like I am just signed up for another thing to like get out in business. And someone was like, can I have the link? I was like, no, not until I do it. And I know it's something worthy of bringing to the table here. Cause not about the affiliate or the money. It's about, is this something that can quantum leap you and your business? Are these people that I trust? One time and one time only, I sent someone to one of my clients and it did not work out. And it was the one time I actually hadn't personally worked with that person. So it was a huge regret of mine. And I was like,
work with the person you were referring them to.
I referred out someone who I knew well, and I loved them as a person, but I had not worked with them in a business aspect. And I referred them to someone, and I had someone not very happy with their services. So I vowed to never again refer unless I've had a deeper experience with someone.
I love that. I think that's important. I feel like even with people who support like products, have product affiliates, it's like, do you actually like this product? Like, do you use it every day?
Yeah, no, there's like it, but I think my people kind of know me by now that I'm trustworthy and honest as shit.
Yeah. So lastly, because are you okay if we go a couple minutes over?
I have nothing to do for the rest of the day. I don't really work on Fridays. So like, hey, what up? I think after this, I'm going to go dance on my live video. I feel like I'm in the mood to like bust a move.
I like your pants for that for some reason.
I'm like, oh, she's really comfy outfit right now. Like, legitimately, like this hair though. Oh,
I know. I almost talked about our stripper vibes at the beginning of the video. I'm like, we need to do a photo shoot.
I did a nude photo shoot yesterday with myself, and no one's ever going to see these photos, but it's like me butt naked with my hair over my boobs down to my vagina. And I'm like, yes. I just kind of look like, I do like the pussy gazing and the self-pleasure and all the things. And I was just,
I remember when that started for you too. And you made like 14,000 in a day. You had like a $14,000 a week when you started your sexual money work.
Yeah. I remember telling that story too.
Okay. So I had this moment yesterday, and I go through, Adam and I are very much into minimalism. We got into it years ago, and it's like, if you're into it, you'll understand that you're ever fucking minimizing, because there's always more shit that comes in and there's always stuff to get rid of. And so I find when I go through these rebirthing processes, I minimize and I get rid of a lot of stuff. And a lot of times that's going to look like clothes that no longer fit the woman that I am. And it's so nice for me because I'm sure the bag of shit that I got rid of yesterday was probably like 40 pounds. And I literally feel like I lost 40 pounds of weight just doing that. And it's such a really cool embodiment process for anybody listening. Just if it's not a hell yes, throw it in the bag and give it to Goodwill. And
I did that in November. I had like 30 bags.
Oh my God. I found these shorts that used to be like my skinny shorts. And I want to start this off with saying, I understand that weight is not an equal representation of health, but for me, I know my body and I know that it is, and I know my own history. And I found these shorts that used to be my skinny girl shorts. They were size 13 and size 13, and they were my skinny girl shorts. So I was in a size 15 for a long time. I was almost 200 pounds. And I have had this journey with weight and my health. And I looked at these cute ass white size 13 shorts and I laid them on the bed and I'm like, I used to be this woman. I used to be her. And then I went and came in here and I grabbed my size 5 pair of shorts, which is now, and I laid them on top of the size 13 pair of shorts and I saw this, you know, the gap of difference. And I thought how interesting it was that the same force, the same force that allowed me to become my size 5 version of myself, I was in this size 13 version because I was even celebrating that size 13 version. And where I'm going with this is I find that there's two types of people, and this is overlapping for life, for business. It's the same force that got me into the size 5s that got me to double my income another time last year. And there's people who would look at the size 5 pants and not and want them and not be able to be in them. They would look at it with a yearning, without like a visioning and without imagining. And then there's people like me who always saw the genes of my, you know, my goal. And I always knew that it could happen. There was no questioning. I knew it. I saw that and I imagined myself.
That's the law of assumption.
Yeah. And I think that it's such
you are God and everything is a version outside of you. And it just believing that, like, really manifesting in, it's not manifesting because the law of assumption is separate from manifesting, but like, I believe that this is a huge thing because I do both, but like, it's like, this is happening for me. There's no other way.
There's no question. Yeah. And even on my journey that went like this, because I went from like a size 15 to a size 13 to a size 9 to like sick and dead to like back up to a size 13. And the whole time I just knew that it was possible for me. And I think that if there's an area in our life where we can't figure out what's going on, or we can't be in the vision, like if you have figured out anything in any part of your life and it has supported you in long-term habits, you literally can figure anything out. You just have to repeat what you did in that one area. Like my partner, he's a health master. So if he just wants to accomplish anything, he just has to look at how he did this thing over here. It's correlated. Anyways, I wanted to bring that up with you because I felt like when you talk about like business and life, to me are they're just overlapped. And like,
yeah,
how, I don't know, I felt like it would be a nice representation of how we get to play for the long game.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot where like nothing I'm creating is like the same thing when you're investing, right? Is like when you're investing in something, stocks, like everything is the long game. A lot of people fail in this business is because they're in it for that one big launch. I don't want to say I ever get into fights online, but I'm very opinionated. And so this woman wrote on this post, like somebody was asking about people who have like 6-figure launches or years, whatever. And this woman commented and she was like, I would be figuring out how to retire if I made that kind of money. And I was like, what? Like that, like, I was like, then you're not in this for the long run. You're also not in this for the impact if it's all about money to you. Right. But like everything I'm creating for the version of me in 5 years and 10 years. And again, like social media will evolve. I will evolve. My business will evolve, but everything I'm creating is for the longer term game and for evolution. I'm creating what I'm creating now and more passive and more different things. So the version of myself that's a mother and a wife can look differently. Like everything that I do is for the long-term game. And I feel like so many people live either in the past or in the now and don't think enough about where they're going. I do as much as I can, like try to obviously live in the now, but I always have the future in mind and where I'm going and my goals and my visions and my budget and all the things. And that's something that really changed for me as well, where, when I first came out with this, I didn't know how sustainable it was going to be. And there was a lot of trial and error. And now everything I create is for long-term. So it could be a signature program for the rest of my life. And again, if things evolve, I will, but yeah, I'm in this to impact lives for the rest of my life. I will never retire. Like I may like fuck off for a little while because I'm going to be so wildly rich and have a family and blah, blah, blah. And I want to travel and have fun. But I don't think I'll ever stop doing this. I'm in love with it. I'm in love with changing lives. I'm in love with helping women find their passion and their purpose. I'm in love with helping women heal. I am in love with helping women break ancestral ties and become wealthy and just I'm in love with all of this. Like, I'm honored that I get to do this for a living. And I'm honored that people trust me and love me enough to give me their money and come walk this path with me beside me.
Well, I'm sure you know that, but take it as I'm sure you know this, but take it as just like a beautiful reflection of the work that you've done and get to continue to do. And like, I get it. I could just, you- if you couldn't shut me up, really. Like I could just talk about it all the time, all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful place to be. It's just such a beautiful place to be. And so that long game, I play for the long game as well. And I want to create something called the long game, like a retreat or something. I've been talking about it with Adam for years. And I know I'm sure there's something out there called that, but I think if we play for the long game and really overlap the person that we see that we want to be with who we are today, then we can not only live in the moment, but live for the future as well.
It's duality.
Yeah, man.
It's beautiful. I'm just excited for all of the things that I am, that I was, that I'm creating, that I'm going to be. Life is good. Even when life is rough, it's still good.
I know.
Like I definitely am not a perfect human and still cry and still have down days and still have moments that I fuck it up forward. But life is still amazing. And like life is what you create it to be. So like if you have a bitch ass attitude, then you're gonna have a bitch ass life. I say the weirdest things. I'm like, where did that come from, Andrea? Some people were born with this thing called a filter. It was located like around here. And the thing that came into your mind, it stops. And like, I wasn't born with one of those. So it's just like, pew. And I'm like, it came out. Thankfully,
You're going to have to send me.
That's never got me in really, really big trouble so far, but maybe someday will.
I want to see, you got to send me your birth information so I can look at your human design.
Oh, okay.
Totally. And then that last question, because I have to ask, because you just brought it up. Being an emotional projector, I've learned so much about riding that emotional wave and acting from a place, making decisions from a place of neutrality. What has supported you the most in learning how to do that? Like,
yeah, I feel like that was one of the hardest things to master for me because like, I mean, and again, everything's individual still. Cause like sometimes when I just fucking know I want something, I know. Right. But like for the most part, I do.
Do you have a defined heart?
Do
you have a defined heart?
No. Okay. No, everything is open for me all down the middle too. I'm like fully psychic too. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think for me, since I am and so emotional, like I want to make split decisions and go and yeah. So learning to ride that wave and like, I think that's what's come with me wanting to dive so much deeper into emotional intelligence. It's like, it's not that you're not going to get mad. It's not that you're not going to get sad. It's not that you're not going to get triggered. It's the fact that you're honoring you are feeling this way and you're not allowing yourself to speak or freak out or do a thing to hurt someone else or yourself. So it's like also honoring that inner child, like, oh, you're mad right now. Okay, let's feel into this. Let's work through this. Let's move through this. And like, wait until I do a thing. And like, I really realized where in partnerships and friendships where like I was very reactive and I would be like, like say the thing like right then and there. And I was like, wait, I've got to process this because the thing that's about to come out of my mouth is a trigger, is a trauma response, is a emotional thing. Like you can still be emotional and allow yourself to process and move through before you respond. And I think that changed my whole life. And honestly, I feel like I've became more of and no one's a master, by the way, but the past couple of months is I've been really working on this. So
mastering, I like to call it mastering.
Yeah. Mastering. Because again, like I never know what's going to happen where if someone were to hurt someone I loved and say so, like, you just never know how I'm going to react. Right. Like I remember in moments if someone, if you talk sideways to my mother, like I'm not doing any processes, I'm coming for you, like so.
Yeah, it's changed my life. It's changed my life. I was so good I teach emotional mastery, I call it.
Mm.
And I was so good at emotionally managing that I would emotionally manage myself to a state of like high vibe and try to make all my decisions from there. And it, for
Yeah,
whatever
also
reason,
not
wasn't
good.
working. No. And so now it's just been so fantastic. So
Neutrality is where you want to make decisions from, where you're not high and doing dumb shit or low and, mad.
do you have information? Are you still putting together the projector thing? Do you want to share about it, or is it
Yeah.
is
So
it ready?
we have a wait list right now. We're coming out with this Monday. It's called
Oh,
Invited. We're doing all the things. I mean, it's really, we're going to talk about how to manage your energy, how to become, an energetic master of your energy. We're talking about a little bit of everything because I feel like, especially being a projector, you need to talk about boundaries. You need to talk about your energy. You need to talk about pleasure. You need to talk about rest. We're like, we discussed that there are two notions, right? There's the projectors who are like, I don't need to do anything and I just rest and play forever. Or there's the projectors who are so burnt the fuck out because they're trying to be a mani-gen, right? So like, I want to break both of these notions where like, you don't have to overwork and you also like do work a little where you're not just like touching your vagina all day, so I think there's like that middle ground that we want to teach and, getting out of perfectionism and allowing people to have a business that feels good for them and a life that feels good for them. So there's going to be 7 calls in total and we're going through all of this, like everything. And I'm going to be the person who's speaking from someone who was an unembodied projector and went through all of these things with schedule and maintenance and, what feels good with programs and what I'm doing and, all of that, and going to really speak my story and teach people. And we're going to be teaching business stuff in there. And Kelly's the human design. She doesn't like being called an expert, but I call her an expert. She's like, I'm not an expert. I'm like, it's okay.
what's her name? I want to look her up.
Kelly Mahalik.
Maybe I've heard
She's
of her.
on my page. If you go to my page right now, you will see a picture of us in Florida. And we're talking about Invited. So yeah. And she's going to talk about, like the different lines, the different kind of projectors and go into all the nitty gritty of the charts and everything like that. So it's like a really great personality, different dynamic and expertise, different dynamic where we're going to kind of just go into a little bit of everything. And it's actually like super affordable as well. I think early bird, I want to say is like 888 pay in full and like 999 pay plan. I could be making that up, but I'm pretty sure it's that.
Yeah, if you're a projector and you're listening, it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself is figure out how to just fucking do life energetically correctly.
I know.
and still just be inspired and not
I had
burn out
25
and take
one-on-one
action.
clients. 25 one-on-one clients.
At one time?
Yeah, once. Yeah. That's
Oh
when I met Kelly. She was like,
oh
what? And I was like, I'm going to 3-line my way through this shit because I had to fail forward. I had to realize that didn't work. Like a lot of things in my life. I'm like, oh, shouldn't have did that. Let's do it different. And I think that like, that's the best way to go through life is like, that thing didn't work for me. Let's do something else.
It's like the 1-3 defined. That's
Yeah.
like the 1-3. Put your face on the 1-3. I'm a 2-4 and I'm like the opportunist hermit. And so it's really fucking easy for me to hermit. And it's moving me into like getting into my community and stuff, which we talked about. And it makes all the difference. Like if I can just turn that little key and put some momentum to get out in my community, I feel so good and it's so nourishing and people love me. And like it's just about getting out there for
magnetism.
Me. So,
they're magnetized towards you.
Mm.
And our energetic signature is success as projectors.
I
We
know.
are born to be I was born to be successful. Okay. There is nothing that could stop this.
We were born successful. Let's get that straight very quickly.
Successful.
Cool. So yeah.
Not to be a bitter bitch.
Not to be a bit. Bitterness was wow. When I learned about that, I was like, I get
like,
bitter.
Wow, I've been bitter
frustrated.
before.
Yeah.
Not cute.
I lost my notes on here, but we'll probably wrap up. Anything else on your mind?
No. Have a good day. Love yourself. Be radically honest. Be able to fuck up forward and try to get a hold of your emotions. because your emotions are the thing that could fuck things up. I realized that like the only thing that ever came in between me and anything that I desired was my emotions, because I was really fucking emotional. And I'm not saying I've mastered that, because let's get clear, I still have emotions, a lot of them. But as I'm getting better at like not having such like I used to be like, hi, hello, I was like mini, you know, like bipolar. At one point I was actually diagnosed that by a therapist. She was wrong. But and you know, I had to learn to heal. Like if you have got to the version of me 4 years ago, I had like celiac and IBS and endometriosis and bipolar disorder and PTSD from my accident. And like today I have none of those things, legitimately. Like I have self-healed and self-mastered all of these illnesses, these things that people said I would have to have pills for the rest of my life. And I have not only done that beautifully, but became really fucking successful in the meantime, right? So it's like all of these limiting beliefs and these labels and these notions, it's nothing that you can't break out of.
No, nothing. Okay. Well, I'm going to stop the live stream. So say bye to everybody on the line.
I love you forever and always.
You can reach out to either one of us.
Join the Intuitive Boss Babe community and come fuck shit up with me.
Okay, love you guys. Bye.